Today we have a very special guest in the podcast. Her name is Gabby, and she's one of the members of the DDC Familia. We've been working together for about a year and 9 months. It's going to be 2 years very, very soon. And I really wanted to have her in the podcast today because Gabby has an amazing success story that I really want to share with you guys, because I want you guys to learn from her story. I want you guys to learn from her success, from her experiences, from her personal, the setbacks, all the challenges that she has overcome. And what better person than Gabby to share everything with us? Because this has been a very long journey. This has been a very tough but rewarding journey. So let her introduce herself. Gabby, how are you today? And tell us, before I ask you something, tell us what was something you did, before we started working together. What was something a goal that you always wanted to achieve, but you were not able to because there was something holding you back?
I'd say definitely probably just not even knowing where to start. Obviously before my journey, I wasn't on the bigger side, but I just wasn't happy in my own skin, and I lacked a lot of confidence, and everything that I tried just wasn't working. Like I'd crash diet, I wasn't eating enough, or I'd eat too much. I'd be doing really high intensity cardio, which wasn't really working for me either. So everything I tried for like months and months just wasn't really working for me. So I really wanted to lose the fat that I had and tone up. And then back then I didn't really have intentions of wanting to get bigger, which is what I want to do now, like as in building muscle. But at that point it was all about kind of the fat loss phase and just kind of being able to be confident in my own skin and being happy and getting that confidence back. So that was the initial goal before I started this journey.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned, like the initial goal, I remember it was fat loss, but now your goal has changed completely. And why do you think that changed? Why do you think before you were, I wouldn't say obsessed, but you were more concerned with losing body fat, but now you want to muscle mass, which obviously are two completely different goals. Like the way that you want to look now, it's something that maybe you didn't want before. What do you think that happened on the journey that you're like, actually, this is not my goal anymore. I really want to focus on gaining muscle mass?
I think, because once that goal was achieved, I think I just wanted another goal, and I saw the progress and how amazing, I was so happy with the progress that happened, and I just wanted to keep going. I didn't want to stop there. And I think the enjoyment that I got out of the gym with lifting weights and kind of being around like-minded people that kind of had the same goals as me really helped as well. And I just wanted to keep going. And I think being around kind of these sorts of people that have this lifestyle kind of made me want to just keep going. And I think I wanted to, goals just kind of change. And I think once I reach one goal, I like to set another one for myself and just continue on. So, the fat loss achieved and happy, but now is another goal and another new path that I'd like to go down, which is just, building muscle and getting as big as possible now. Which is completely different than what I wanted to begin with, which is crazy, because when I think back, I'm like, I just wanted to be as skinny as possible and have no body fat, and now I'm like, I want the biggest quads and the biggest arms and the biggest shoulders. But so it's crazy how things have changed, but and it makes it exciting, and it's another challenge for myself, and I love challenging myself and seeing if I can achieve them. And because I know that I can, I achieved the first goal, so it gives me the motivation to have this goal, because it's exciting.
And I think that always happens, like once you achieve one goal, you prove to yourself, like, actually, I can make this happen. Actually, if I put in the work, if I put in the time, if I put in the effort, I can make this thing happen. And that's always the same pattern. Like, guys, once you achieve one goal, this just proves to yourself that you can do anything. And then you're hungry for more and more and more. And I feel like you're never going to be satisfied. And I know for sure, like, once you get that muscle mass and once you get the look that you want to get, you're going to be like, actually, I want to focus on something else, or I want to achieve another goal. It's kind of like a never ending thing, which is a good thing because it makes you hungry for success. It makes you hungry to keep wanting more. It makes you hungry and it makes you want more and not be stuck in your happy place or be stuck in your comfort zone. Because I think comfort zone was also something that you were stuck in before you started with the journey. I think pretty much all of us, before we start with any journey, we are all, comfortable doing the things that we always do. We are always in our little bubble, something that I always say, like, when you're in your little bubble, it's just you and your and you don't want to try anything different. But in this journey that you've been doing now for a year and 9 months, what's something apart from fitness and going to the gym, what's something else that fitness has taught you, or this lifestyle has taught you, or help you push yourself out of your comfort zone? Maybe something with your career, maybe something with, I don't know, anything that comes to your mind.
I think it's definitely taught me that pretty much anything's possible. Like, I remember thinking back before I started, like, the way that I look now would just never be possible because I guess I never really tried, and realizing that, like, growth doesn't come from comfort zones. You've got to push yourself outside of your comfort zone to kind of see great changes and for things to actually happen. So I think it's taught me that pretty much anything's possible if you put your mind to it. And if you really want something, like, you can make it happen. And that comes with, sacrifice and discipline and patience, definitely. So learning those things is, like, the key to success, really. So those things I've pretty much put towards, just everyday life. Like, if you want something, commitment, motivation, all those things come into play. But, like, you can pretty much achieve anything in life if you, use those tools. So, yeah.
100%. And, like, talking about sacrifices, what do you think were some of the most challenging times or one of the biggest setbacks that you had to overcome along the journey?
Definitely socializing, because I was a big socializer, especially in summer, when it comes to summer, being around, drinks and food, social gatherings. Learning not to kind of give into peer pressure as well was really hard, and saying no when people would say things like, one's fine, or, a little bit won't hurt. But so that was really hard. But taking a step back from that and just learning to say no was a big game changer, because at the end of the day, I started learning that, every calorie does count. And you might think that one drink, so like one extra snack, is okay, but all that stuff kind of adds up. So if I was saying yes, one day, and then saying yes to a small thing the next day, and maybe yes to a small thing a couple of days later, like, all that stuff adds up over time. So that was really hard, especially in summer, because I'm quite a social butterfly in summer. But more the social aspect side of things, but learning, what's more important. And to me, like, this lifestyle is more important than, saying yes when you're feeling under pressure that you need to say yes to like food and drink and things. And but each to their own, obviously. But
Yeah, but that's a really good point that you mentioned, because I feel like social pressure can be something that can really hold you back from your journey, because some people feel like they have pressure, and they feel like, let's say this weekend I'm going to go out with my friends. They force me to drink. I have to drink because they force me. No one forces you to do anything you don't want to do. Maybe it feels like that at the time because maybe everyone around you wants to drink. They want to have a drink. They want to have McDonald's and, all the things that they want to have. But no one is putting a gun to your head and tell you, if you don't have this drink, I'm actually going to pull the trigger right now. It's whatever you make, it's because you want to make them. Whatever choices you make is because you want to make them. So how do you think your social life has changed now compared to back then, when you used to, drink more, go out more, have this night?
Well, I think now, obviously, I'll save, I have a treat meal once every week. So I save that for once every Saturday night. And then, but before, obviously, it was numerous times during the week. obviously, what got me to the point of wanting to start this journey, of how it made me look and feel like mentally. So now, I'll save a meal for a Saturday night and it gives me something to look forward to all week. But obviously, my Friday night drinks and food have been cut, takeaways during the week. But I think, along this journey, you don't really crave those things like you used to. Like for me personally, before I'd want them all the time. But now I think knowing of how it makes me feel after having, an extra cheat meal, mentally and physically, it's just not really worth it. And it makes the food 10 times more enjoyable, having a nice treat meal once a week on a Saturday night. So, things have definitely changed, but in the best positive way possible. I'd rather have a nice meal once a week and actually really enjoy it, rather than, constantly during the week and feeling awful afterwards. So, things definitely look a lot different, but I definitely wouldn't change it.
Yeah. And I feel like this is something, I think in the past when we started, I think this is something that you used to struggle with whenever you used to have, that cheat meal. I think you used to feel guilty because your mind was like, this is going to make me gain weight. All the progress that I made during the week, and now I'm having this meal, this burger with this fries or whatever. Or maybe you had that extra ice cream for the cheat meal. And sometimes we can get into that mindset of feeling guilty, which obviously it's not the best mindset to be in, but it happens every now and then. Happens to all of us. But what do you do on those times? Let's say last week you had an extra cheat meal or extra something, and then you feel guilty. What do you tell yourself so you don't feel guilty anymore? So you don't go on that mindset of, this is not good for me, I feel guilty, I'm a failure, I'm this, I'm that. What do you do in those moments?
If things like that ever happen, I kind of just think it's not this lifestyle, or it's not a sprint, it's a lifestyle, it's a journey. And things like that, we're all human, and things like that happen, and I just get straight back on board straight away, because I know I've got my whole life to kind of continue on with this. There's no set mark, I'm not going to be stopping this in 6 weeks time, it's not a 6-week crash diet. So I just don't beat myself up on it, and then I just kind of jump back on board pretty much as soon as it's done. But yeah, I try not to beat myself up, when and if that happens, because it doesn't happen often, but when it does, I try to learn from it, and then kind of just move on and just get back into the cycle of things as soon as possible, because the longer you leave it, the harder it is to kind of get back into that routine. And it's just easier just to, if you've had your extra treat or snack or whatever it may be, just get back onto your plan pretty much as soon as possible, so things can kind of stay in motion quick.
Yeah, and I think this is something I always tell you guys. If last week was not the best, if yesterday was not the best, if this morning was not the best, what's done is done. It's done. There's absolutely nothing you can change. As much as we want to, we cannot go back on time to change things. We cannot, we are not magicians. We're not nothing to go back. What's done is done. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from that day, from that morning, from that cheat meal, extra cheat meal, whatever happened. Just learn your lesson, take your lesson, and move on. Because if you stay there and you cry and you complain and you wish that you didn't do it and this and that's not going to change anything. The only thing, the best thing that you do is just learn.
Yeah. And I think as well, one thing that I always take away is I always remember how I felt after having, an extra cheat. And I always remember that for time, because I always think, how did I feel after I had that extra cheat meal I had that time? And obviously it's not a good feeling. And for me, mentally, knowing that I'm going off plan, I just think, no, it's not worth that 5 minutes of eating something yummy. So just try to put it down and, continue on. But yeah.
Yeah. And something else you mentioned earlier, it's you have the rest of your life to make changes, to keep progressing. But how do you think your mindset changed from, I want to lose fat, in this short period of time, let's say 12 weeks, to I want to make this part of my lifestyle. I want to make this part of my routine, my day-to-day life. What do you think happened along the way that made you change, the way you think about fitness and the way you see everything?
I think seeing all like the positive changes and how it made me feel like mentally as well, like they were honestly such positive changes that happened, and I didn't want that to ever stop, like, and I don't want it to ever stop. So rather than thinking of it as like, like an 8 to 10 week diet, I don't really like the word diet, but I'd rather just, why not make it a lifestyle? I like always feel like this, and it's always going to get like better and better. So I think seeing the good changes that were happening in my body and how I was feeling, and knowing that it can get better, like, and the changes in my body will only keep getting better and better and better. Like, it just makes you want to keep going. Which is why I think, it is a lifestyle now, and not just like a short-term fix. So I think, like we were talking about before, like having one goal, achieving it, and then you want more, and you're more hungry to like keep going and going, and smashing another goal and then creating another one. So I think it's just the sense of like accomplishment, really, and pride of achieving a goal, and then it's almost exciting seeing what else your body can achieve. Like, so it's just like a never-ending cycle of like just wanting to get better, really.
Exactly. And you keep mentioning the word mindset. What do you think has been like the biggest mindset shift that you had since you started your journey? Like, what's the biggest? Tell me one thing, or tell me anything that comes to your mind. A few things. Like, what's the biggest thing that you have learned, or the biggest change that you've had?
I think mindset change, probably learning that this is like a lifestyle, I guess. Like, before I was always obviously crash dieting and thinking that I could achieve these goals in just like a short period of time, and then that would be it. I think learning to take the knowledge and things and trying to adapt it to make it work for me, to make it like to work for my lifestyle, really, and to make everything achievable. It's a tough question, actually.
Take your time.
I think honestly, everything changed with my mindset. I think my relationship with food, especially, learning that food is fuel for the body and not, just for taste. Just because it tastes good doesn't mean that you should be shoving it down your throat every half an hour. Yeah. Your relationship with food. I think almost pretty much my whole mindset changed just with everything, like food, goals in the gym, definitely habits and routine. Before, I didn't really have much of a routine. I'd kind of go home, and I wouldn't really know what to do. I might go for like a run or a walk or something, but not, it was never consistent. And I would never know what I was having for dinner, and it would end up being something, like a massive burger and like oven fries, or like, like a pizza oven, or a oven pizza. But now a routine is extremely important for me. Like, without routine, it's an absolute mess. Like, you need routine and habits to be successful, I think, in things like this. So, like, I'll go to work, go to the gym and train, come home, meal prep, cook my dinner, and just having those habits and routines in place just keeps my mind at ease, and I know that I'm on the right track with being able to achieve what I want to achieve. So like, before, I was just willy-nilly all over the show. Even like when I'd go to the gym, I'd have no idea what I was doing, and I'd go maybe like once or twice a week, and I would only go on the treadmill, and I'd just go for a walk on the treadmill for like half an hour, thinking that would be enough. But now having like a structured meal plan and a structured training program is like my Bible. Like I'd need it. Like, yeah, I'd be lost without it. So yeah, definitely new habits, routine, realizing that those two things are extremely important, along with obviously like a structured meal plan and a structured training program, and making sure I stick to it and follow it. So
I think it's obviously everything. I feel like sometimes people think, if I have a meal plan in a training program, I'll be sweet. I'll be able to lose that weight or gain that muscle mass. But it's not just about following that meal plan in that training program. It's about making that part of your routine and having a routine, having a schedule. Because if you only decide on the day, oh, maybe today I'll go to the gym, maybe not, then it's going to be easier for you to say, actually, I feel lazy, I'll go tomorrow. And then tomorrow, I go the day after. And that's something that happened to me before I started, before I was serious about my journey. And I know it happened to you as well. So routine, it's honestly everything, and not just for your fitness, for your day-to-day life. If you have a routine at work, it will help you be more productive at work. If you have a routine for your workouts, it will help you get your workouts done throughout the week. If you have a routine schedule for your meal plan, it will help you ensure that you do your meal prep whatever days you do it, every second day, every once a week, however you do it. But routine, schedule is everything, because the things that we do every day, we do them out of habit. Brushing your teeth, it's something you don't even think about. It's just second nature, because it's something you've been doing every single day in the morning and every single day at nighttime, if you brush your teeth twice a day. Brushing your hair, again, something you do all the time. Taking a shower, my phone. It's something you do all the time. So having that routine will set you for success. But tell me about something else you mentioned about your relationship with food. How was your relationship with food before you joined the program, before you started with your journey?
It was awful. So, I would either not eat at all, thinking that was healthy, and thinking that would make me lose the weight, when in reality it probably stuffed up my metabolism. And that's probably why I just couldn't lose any weight. So, I'd eat a couple eggs for lunch or something, and then at night time I would binge, because I'd be so hungry, and I'd have like a massive meal, and then I'd start snacking on food and like biscuits, and so it was really one or the other. So I'd just, and then days I'd feel bad, and I'd be like, oh, I binged last night, so I just won't eat anything today, and I won't eat anything till dinner. So it was either crash dieting or just binging, or like a mix of both. And not knowing what I know now, things like the good things that food do for our bodies, the nutrients in certain foods and like proteins and stuff, I had no idea about. Not knowing what they did to our body. All that mattered to me at that time was like what tasted good. And now everything's completely changed, and I think the view on food and foods are completely different now than what they were before. So, very unhealthy relationship with food, but now have a totally different outlook, with food, and have like the best relation. Well, I do have a good relationship with food. Obviously, I do miss those things, but that's when it comes down to just the sacrifices that you need to make if that's the goals that you want to achieve. If that's what you want, then those are the sacrifices you need to make. But
sometimes I think we can often forget about that. Like, we have to make sacrifices. That doesn't mean you have to suffer. Okay, there's a difference between sacrifices and suffering along the journey. But if you want to have something that you didn't have before, there has to be a line that you have to put in between, because if you keep doing the same things that you were doing before, you're simply going to get the same results that you were getting before. But if you want to get new results, you need to be able to make those sacrifices, to be willing to try something new, to be willing to say no to people, say no to things that maybe are not helping you reach your goal. So sacrifices are good, but we don't have to suffer, because we're still pretty flexible, like with the meal plan. We're still enjoying things that are yummy. It's not like rice, chicken, and veggies and broccoli, nothing else. Like, it's something that wouldn't be realistic. I think that's always like what I tell you guys. Like, we have to make it realistic. We have to make it sustainable, because again, this is a lifetime thing, just 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 12 months, 1 year, it's a life thing. But now tell us, how do you stay motivated? Because obviously motivation comes and goes. I know you had so many times, we all have times that we don't feel like doing anything, we don't want to do anything. What do you tell yourself, or what do you do on those times when you feel like, I can't be bothered going to the gym, or I can't be bothered prepping my meals, or I just want to give up, I want to go back to the old Gabby? What happens in those times?
I think when I start feeling like that, I always think back to how far I've come, and it's just too, I think once you start seeing your progress, that's enough as a motivator as in itself to just keep going. I think if I want to give up, like, I just think in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years time down the track, if I keep going and doing what I'm doing now, I'm gonna be so happy that I kept going and didn't give up. I think, just thinking about how and what I've achieved now, and and being patient, and the results that I've seen so far is just enough to motivate me to keep going. And I know, like, the days when I don't feel like going to the gym, it's kind of discipline over motivation. No one's motivated to go to the gym every single day. It comes down to more discipline than motivation. And no one leaves the gym and is like, oh, that was, I really wish I didn't go. I always leave, even if I really don't want to go, get your workout in, and I always am like, I'm so glad that I went, and I'm always happy. I always just thank myself, and even if I don't want to go, I just make yourself go, and you never regret it. And I always remember that. I'm like, I'm not going to regret going, so just go.
Exactly.
But I think, and just the excitement of the results that I'll see, if I keep going, is enough. Like, that makes me just want to keep going. Like, obviously at the moment, or even though I'm about to enter a cut, but before, when I was in the bulking phase, I would never want to miss a training session, because I would think about, like all the muscle that I'm going to build from each gym session, and like making the most of each one, and just picturing myself of what I'm going to look like in 6 months, to a year or 2 years time, and just kind of visualizing the goal, and visualizing what I'm going to look like and how I'm going to feel in like a year's time. It just makes me want to really keep going, really. Just envisioning the goal and envisioning what that's going to look like when I achieve it makes me just want to keep going, even when I'm not feeling motivated.
I love that. It's always like remembering why you're doing this and the goal. And something also you mentioned is, obviously you're looking ahead, and you're thinking about, like, if I don't do this now, how am I going to look or feel next year, 1 year time, or 2 years from now? How do you think, because I know right now you're very patient. Obviously you have this patience because you want to see this journey. I mean, you want to be in this journey because you want to see those results long term. But when you started, you were not that patient. How do you, I don't know how to ask this question, but how do you learn to be more patient? Or how do you make yourself realize that this is not going to be done in just 12 weeks or in just 4 weeks? This is going to be something that's going to take a long time, but I just have to make sure I put in the work every single day if I want to see those results long term.
It is very hard being patient, but I think people need to understand that, obviously, like, results just don't happen overnight. And if you really want them, you just have to be patient. But I learned to love the process along the way, which what makes being patient so much easier. Like make the choices that make it work for you. So, like we were saying before, like, don't suffer. Like our meal plans, we still get to enjoy the foods that we like, but we're still making progress. So if you make this lifestyle enjoyable, then you're going to love every part of the way, and it's not going to be miserable. So if you can learn to enjoy it, it makes being patient like 10 times easier. still getting to enjoy the foods that you like, enjoying training at the gym, just making it work for you as much as possible. So it becomes like an enjoyable lifestyle and not a sufferable one.
I think the main thing is enjoy the journey, because if you're not enjoying it, it'll be easier to give up.
100%. So just got to do what you need to do to make yourself enjoy it.
And what's like one advice you will give to your younger self about this? If you can go back to the old Gabby when she was 18, 21, or like, the phase that you were partying more, what's one thing you tell her right now?
I would say I would definitely start now. Start soon. Like I would have done this years and years and years ago. Also, I'd say don't doubt yourself. Just start and keep going. Stick to the plan. I'd also probably say don't compare yourself to other people on social media, because that was a big thing I used to do when I was younger. I see all these girls on social media and I'd see their bodies and I'd be like, oh, why don't I look like that? Even if I was working out, but like I learned that, these girls on social media, everyone's bodies are different. Everyone's got different body structures and different genetics. And, everyone's journey is going to be different than mine. And so I'd probably say don't compare your journey to everyone else's, because everyone's different, like in every possible way. Some people have been doing this for like years and years and years and years. So just be a focus on my own journey rather than focusing on, everyone else's. And probably, that would be advice.
Yeah, that's a really good message. Like, don't compare yourself. Like, comparison is a thief of joy. When you compare yourself, like Gabby said, like, we are all unique. I am unique. You're unique. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, we are all very unique. So what works for you or what you do, it's something completely different from what someone else is doing. So just focus on yourself. Don't waste your time and energy on someone else, because that's time and energy that you can be investing in your time. So always think about like the investment that you can make for yourself, because the more time and money you can invest in you, the more you're going to grow as a person and the more results you're going to get. And one last question for you before we go. What's one advice that you will give to someone right now, someone who's watching this, listening to this podcast, and they really want to get started, but they feel like right now it's not the right time for me to get started. I'll get started once I have more money. I'll get it started once I start with a new job, or, things settle down in my life a little bit. What's something you will say to them?
I'd probably definitely say there is never a right time. Like, I think just now will always be the right time. Otherwise, you'll just never do it. So if you do it now, 6 months down the track, you'll look back and you'll be like, I'm so glad I started on that day when I didn't feel like starting. The longer you leave it, obviously, the longer the results are going to take to come. So, the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to start seeing results. And even if it's hard, it's not always going to be hard. Like when I first started, obviously it's hard because it's a new change and it's a new lifestyle and you've got to adapt to these new changes in life, but they get easier and easier and easier as time goes by. So the sooner you start, the sooner the results are going to come. And there is never a right time, but now is the perfect time to start.
Yeah, now is the time. So if you are thinking about starting with your unfinished journey, make sure to send me a DM on Instagram, TikTok, any social media with the word right now, so I can help you. I can see if and how I can help you. But thank you so much, Gabby, for being on the podcast. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, sharing your success story. You're someone, I always tell you this, you're very inspirational. You are motivating so many people around you, even if they tell you, even if they don't. Trust me, you're motivating so many people. And every time people see your transformation on my Instagram, they always tell me like, wow, this transformation is amazing. Or I just reached out to you because of this girl. I saw her picture on Instagram and I really want to have, that same success. So thank you for your time. Thank you for believing in this. Thank you for being here. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I'd completely say, anyone that's thinking about joining, definitely do it and you won't regret it. But thank you for having me, Daniela.
No, thank you. I'll talk to you soon. And if you're watching this, Don't forget to follow me on social media. And if you found this useful, share it on your social media and tag me at Daniela Del Carpio. Until next time, and as I always say, don't ever stop believing in yourself. Ciao.